Welcome back to another episode of the Last of Us Talk Show. I'm your host, Mikey, and today we are here to talk about Season 2 finale, Episode 7, Convergence. Or at least, I should say I am here to talk about it, as if you're watching this on YouTube anyways, you can see that Blaine is not here with me in this episode. He will be back We're going to do like a recap episode of the entire season and our feelings on it, but he won't be joining me on this one. You know, he just turned 14 this last week, so you know, he's out being a teenager, doing teenager things, having fun. So he did watch this episode, but yeah, he's not able to join me with on the recording of this one. But yeah, so I'm here to talk about Convergence. And I'm here to talk about how something happened in this episode that has never happened in the TV show so far, in my viewing experience. Changes that were made have either not, you know, they were just as good as the original story, or changes that were made added and made the story even better. And for the first time, I can say I feel like changes that were made I actively dislike and make the story worse, in my opinion. And this, you know, might be something that affects me because I already know the story. I've already experienced it, and I like the way it is, you know. And the thing is, it's not any action that was changed that I'm upset about. It's not any setting that was changed that I'm upset about. It is character motivation and story that got changed. That is, I think, actively it's making me upset, and I feel like is making the overall story, it's like, again, they always wanted to, whenever they were making changes, whether it was just like adding something or removing something, or making up new stuff entirely, they always wanted it to be just as good as original or better. This one, the changes that they made are worse, and that's disappointing for this episode. Now, the weird and awkward part is that I also have to say is that, but it's not a bad episode. It's a good episode. It is well acted, you know, and it is well written. Okay, I'm not here to say that the writing is bad. I'm here to say that the original piece of writing I like better, and I wish they would have stuck with that. That's my thing, right? So it's not like it's, oh, the acting is bad, the writing is bad, the, you know, setting is bad. No, that's actually all good. It's just, as somebody who's already experienced the story, I'm disappointed that this is not the same experience now, and that this episode is, and in these scenarios for these characters, it's not the same, and it's not as good as what I originally experienced. Like I said, I actually loved a lot of changes that they would make because I felt like this is actually better than what the original was, but not today, not in this episode. So let's kind of go through them. All right, because already in the first 5 minutes or less of this episode, I was already like, no, this can't be right. this isn't right, and this is actually worse. And we start out with Ellie showing back up to the theater after, as an audience, we know she just tortured Nora, right? And of course, it affects her, and it should. I feel like it should affect her in a certain way, though. In the episode, it affects her in a way to where she's questioning if she is doing the right thing, if she's making the right choice. And I just don't feel like that at this point, that's not where we're at with Ellie yet. That's not where we've seen Ellie at to this point in the show. And I know that's not where we've seen Ellie to this point in the video game. She should come back. She should be distraught. She should be, torn up about like, oh, I just did something insane. I just tortured a person. I've never actually done that before. I've been thinking about it. I have done a lot of violence, but now I have just tortured somebody who's potentially innocent, and this is what it's going to take for me to get to my ultimate goal. And how disturbing that is, but not to the point where she's like, in the episode, to me, the way it is written, it seems as if she is questioning if she's gonna go on, where I don't think at this point she should be questioning if she's gonna go on. I think she just should be confronting the facts of like, well, if she is gonna go on, this is what it's gonna be. And yes, that is very upsetting. And then this is something that they changed totally, that again, all within like the first 5 minutes here, I'm just like, wow, one thing after another that they are changing that is making me actively dislike what is happening. And then we are talking about Ellie telling Dina about Joel and what he did and how he did it and how Ellie knew. And now we see Dina's reaction, and she is reacting to what Ellie is telling her here. She is reacting to the fact that now she knows the facts of what Joel did, and now and she's reacting to the fact that Ellie is just now telling her the truth. And now she's upset about going forward with this. She says, we got to get out of Seattle. And she seems more upset that Ellie lied to her and that this is what Joel did, so maybe they really shouldn't be here for that reason, because maybe Joel got what he deserved. And that should not be the case at all. I mean, we know Dina is pregnant, so she's got plenty of reason to want to leave already. We don't need to throw on top of that her being upset about Ellie already knowing what Joel did, and now Dina finding out what Joel did, and if it's really worth going and avenging him. She's already got plenty of reason why she needs to turn back, so I feel like this just isn't the way this character, in my mind, needs to be, or needs to feel like she needs to leave. She's already got a perfectly valid reason. You don't need to change what it was originally, where she just she's got a baby now that she absolutely loves. It doesn't have to be, you don't need to throw on top of it that, oh, well, actually, I'm upset as well that Ellie lied to me by not telling me the truth, and I'm also upset about what Joel did because that isn't a good thing. It's not. Yeah, it's just I didn't like it. Again, to me, worse. I mean, and I'm trying. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say because other stuff that I could say why she shouldn't have to be acting like this right now. I mean, I can't really talk about it in detail because it would be spoiling what is going to happen in the future, right? So, all I say is like she's got plenty of reason why she would want to leave now, and then if there's bigger reasons why she would be upset about going after and continuing this revenge story, if they needed to do that, like bigger reasons could have come up later. I just didn't make sense to me for that to come up now. And it was actively worse. It made it less good. It was not as good as what was originally told. Another thing for me is Jesse. Damn, did they make him an asshole in this? And I mean, at one point, I was getting so annoyed with Jesse. Again, as somebody who already experienced this story, I knew what was going to happen to Jesse at the end of this episode. And I was starting to be like, you know what? This guy, whatever. I don't mind. I'm not going to miss him. If that's the way he's going to act, let it happen. I don't care. That's how bad it was. I should not be feeling that way about Jesse. Jesse came to save Dina and Ellie. Because he's a good guy. We get that little bit of a talk there right at the end before Jesse gets gunned down. And it's enough to, like, in the moment that you just have that moment of like, okay, Jesse's a good guy. And then bam, what happens. And then you go, oh, dang, I was just ready to, like, be okay with Jesse again. But man, I feel like you didn't need to make him such an asshole. Just make it so that he is such a good guy. He's such a good guy that you're liking this guy so much that you want him to be on your side. You want him to be helping out Ellie and Dina. You want him to be a hero. But instead, they made him such an asshole that it was like, during points of this episode, I was like, yeah, okay. If this is how this guy is going to be, then I know what's going to happen. When it happens, I'm not going to be that upset. And I'm probably not, like I said, they had that one last little conversation where I still, like, it did make me go like, damn it, okay, he is a good guy. I'm upset that it happened, but I'm not as upset as I should be because I spent most of the episode going, damn, this guy's an asshole. He doesn't want to help. He thinks he's better than everybody else. And, he's only helping because he feels like some sort of sense of duty, not because, they didn't make me think like he actually cared about Joel enough, right? It's just like, oh, well, this is what I do type of thing because that's what I do for my community. That's just not strong enough reason for me to, like, then be, like, super upset about what happens. When he's shot, it's like, well, dang, that sucks. He is a good guy and he should get a chance, but damn. Could have been better. It actually, again, made it worse because I should be feeling so upset about the loss of Jesse, and I'm just nowhere near as upset as I think as I should be. But this is what was written for them, and they acted it well. So I was still like drawn in. I was still enthralled. It was just in the back of my mind the whole episode of like, oh, but these writing choices are not as good as what I originally experienced, and it's a bummer. But overall, really good episode. Again, the writing is still really good. It just doesn't make me like it just doesn't, it's not as good as what as what I experienced originally, and it could have been a lot better. I guess in, I don't know, 10-15 years, if it gets remade, we'll get a chance to see if somebody else gets to pick this up and actually just makes it like a remake of the game where it follows things more true to the characters and the choices and the feelings that they have at certain points. Then yeah, that'll be something interesting. But this is what we got, and yeah, just disappointed that it's not as good as what I was hoping. But again, still really good. They still did a good job of. Here's something that is actually better than. Actually, no, it's still just different. At this point, I still don't know if it's better either. In the video game, right, you control these characters. So what we've been watching this season, we're watching it from the point of view of Ellie, right? So in the video game, you are playing in the point of view of Ellie, you're controlling Ellie, you are Ellie. Now, when we get to the end of this episode here, when that happens in the video game, then yes, you switch over to the point of view of Abby, which means you are now playing as Abby, which means you, the player, are Abby. And this is where a lot of people just lost their minds, right? You do not want to play as Abby. You hate Abby. Abby did what she did. You do not. So many people just quit the game because they're like, no, I'm not going to play this game anymore. I don't want to be the character that I've hated for however many hours now. This did not give me that feeling at all. Whereas, again, a lot of people, millions of people that played the video game, literally at that point, threw their controller down, turned off the game, and said, okay, I'm never playing this game again. I don't want to play it. Whereas with this one, and again, I had that feeling, but, I'm a rational human being, so, and I wanted to know more, I wanted to see where the story went. So I kept going, and it became The Last of Us Part 2 is my favorite favorite story in a video game of all time. And here in the TV show, so I don't get that same feeling where I'm just like, oh gosh, now we're gonna get it from the point of Abby. Oh, I hate this. I don't want to watch. This actually makes me want to continue. I go, wow, the gunshot and fade to black, and then switching over to Abby makes me really interested to see what happens in the next season. And we already know season 3 is coming. The part that sucks is that it's not going to be filmed until 2026 sometime, so it's probably not going to be released until 2027 sometime. And that's the sucky part about television, man. It sucks that you have that long of a wait, because again, as a video gamer, you just boom, everything's already done. You're just playing straight through. So if you're somebody like me who you get to that point and you pause for like 5 minutes because you're like so upset you can't believe what is happening, and you're gonna have to, now you have to be this character that you hate. After your initial shock, you keep going, and then you find out the story is great. What is going to happen with the TV show, I wonder, where, what if there are, like I said, the way they did it, I am compelled to keep going forward and watching future seasons. But I'm wondering how many people out there are feeling like the same thing that I felt when I played the video game. This is their first experience. What if they're seeing this and they say, now we're going to have to watch this from the point of view of Abby? No, I'm not going to watch that. I hate Abby. What if a ton of people drop off? Because their last feeling is, oh, I hate that character. I don't want to watch them. I don't care about their story. And then now they have to wait 1.5 years to 2 years before the story continues? Yeah, they might just not come back. That is going to be really interesting to see. I hope everybody does, because again, by the time you get to the end of this thing, which sounds like it could be 4 seasons. I was going to predict that it was going to be 4 seasons because I was like, with the way this season is shortened, what we're going to get in the next season, I think you could stretch this thing into 4 seasons and it would be better. In fact, I wish they would have made this thing... I wish they already knew that The Last of Us Part 2 video game was going to be 3 seasons. I wish they already knew that it was going to be Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, and I wish that they actually would have stretched this out even more. I wish Season 2 here, I wish they would have made this like 9 or 10 episodes and got us even more side stories and background stories of some of our characters. I wish they would have spent more time. But yeah, I'm gonna be real curious to see if people jump back in, in 1.5 years or 2 years, if there's somebody that was already feeling like, well, I hate this character, I don't want to watch him. Because that's a long gap. Again, for me, it was 5 minutes of like shock where I'm like, I don't want to do this. Okay, I'm going to do this. Let's do it. And then, okay, oh wow, this is actually fantastic. Whereas if somebody goes, oh, I hate this character, I don't want to watch them, and then they have to wait 2 years, are they gonna pick it back up? That's gonna be interesting to see. We're gonna find out. But yeah, oh my goodness, crazy episode here. Crazy choices were made. If you're a video game player, I want to know your opinions on this episode, and how you view it. Like, are you viewing this the same way as me, or are you feeling like the opposite from me? Are you saying like, no, these actually were good choices and I like it better? For me, not the case. And if especially if you're not a video game player, I want to know how you're feeling. Is it because I'm worried that my experience with the original story is, coloring my view of this version so much that it's making me dislike it even more. Like I said, the choices, I feel like they don't even reach the same level of the original story, which again was always their goal, same or better. I feel like the choices that they made are beneath what the original was. But again, if you're somebody who this is your first time experiencing the story ever, your first time ever experiencing the story, you know, you're not having those same feelings, right? So I'd love to know what your view on the story is in general at this point then. You know, like, do you really believe that this is like Dina finding out the truth about what Ellie knows and about what Joel did? Does that make sense here to you, that this is seemingly what is making her upset in that moment and change her mind? Like I said, for me, she's already got plenty of reasons. You know, if you're somebody who's never watched before, did it like affect you that Jesse was being an asshole? Did it throw you off guard like it did me? For me, like I said, it threw me off guard because I wasn't expecting him to come in and you know, yeah, sure, he's upset, but he doesn't have to be such an asshole, right? So you know, I think, again, because of the version of Jesse that I know, who is not that big of an asshole, like, I'm curious, is that affecting my view so much, whereas like somebody who's never experienced the story before, is it not as big of a deal to you? Are you sitting there going like, oh yeah, he was an asshole, but that's just who he is? Where I'm like, no, it's not. I don't know. I'd love to hear from everybody. This one is just throwing me for a loop because, again, this is the first. Other choices that they made in the past, they would get me feeling a little like, okay, I don't know about this, but I'm gonna see where it goes. And it worked out. But this was one that was instantly in the moment where I said, no, that was not a good choice. I don't need to wait it out and see where this leads. In the moment, this is not, you know, as good as it was. I don't know, I've rambled on here for quite a bit, again, just because this one threw me for a loop so much. So in the comments below, let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you think of this season overall. Let me know what you're hoping to see in the future, if you're going to keep watching in the future, and you know, how bummed are you that we have to wait so long? I hope, since they know they're doing a season 3 and a season 4 for sure, I hope they, you know, get their production together and tell HBO, like, hey, we got this budget, let's pay these actors, let's pay this crew, let's pay them a ton of money, let's get this all done so that we can release these seasons like 6 months to a year apart, so that the audience doesn't have a ending like we did with this season, and now we have to go, oh my gosh, I want to know what happens so bad next, but now I have to wait a year and a half to 2 years. Again, as a video game player that I get to find out instantly, man, this is going to be such a long wait. Alright, but leave those comments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when these videos come out. And until next time, endure and survive.